Welcome back to another action figure obsession video. It's me, your old pal, Avian and Loaded, and I thought we'd mix it up a little, have a change of pace, and talk about Captain America today. Yeah. So anyway, I had this thought that it might be fun to count down, or not really count down, but rank all of my Captain Americas from least favorite to most favorite. And since most, if not all of them, are represented on the work table here, all the four, well, I guess I got to lay down the ground rules first. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. And the ground rules are loosely thought out in my head, so, and they probably will be violated a time or two. Feel free to comment if you're outraged. I understand, but it's my video, and I'm making this up as I go along. There's no list written down in front of me. I have a rough idea in my head, but I'm not even 100% sure where this is all going to end up. So basically, the rules are what we're talking about here are Hasbro Marvel Legends 6-inch scale Captain Americas, Steve Rogers, in some other form perhaps, or significant characters who have also been Captain America. I think that's kind of what I've got it narrowed down to, and no severe kit bashes. There are a couple that are going to have some minor kit bashing, more for the purposes of restoration than for making it a variant version of a character or a what-if version of a character. But basically what I'm showing you, in my heart, what I want to show you are as close to as possible the stock out of the box. This is what Hasbro gave us figures, and rank them from my least favorite to my most favorite. Does that make sense? Because by the end of this video, it probably won't. But for the moment, I'm hoping that makes some sense. So I believe, I counted. So I eliminated all the doubles because there's like 3 or 4 Secret Wars Captain Americas from last year. I have 3 or 4 of those on my work table. We only need to talk about one. So I've tried to eliminate any doubles, which I shouldn't have too much trouble with dealing with as we go through here. I've eliminated doubles. I won't be picking them out of. See, we got a big crowd here. We got the Shriners convention. Almost caused the third mass casualty event of the day. Just plucking my Captain Americas out of. And I thought they were all on the front line, but something went awry and somebody knocked somebody over. And then so I've had 2 mass casualty events on the work table, on the floor of the Shriners convention here this morning so far, setting this up. I was getting so angry at myself and so frustrated the second time I knocked him over that I had to turn the air conditioner on high just to cool me down a little, because I was getting a little steamy. So I think there's 18 figures total here, where I have kit bashed 1 or 2 of them for reasons. I will explain it as I say. It's more for restoration purposes to get them closer to what they were originally intended to be by Hasbro, or to the design that they were following, than for what's a crazy? Okay, here we go. There's a good example right here. Like this guy does not count. That is obviously a kit bash. It's not even one that I like. It's just one of those. Well, here, keep the peg hole at the proper resistance or tolerance by just sticking an extra head on it. And then I have that shield, which doesn't really work. See, the Quicksilver arms are very thin because it's very small, true 1/12 scale movie figure. He has very thin arms, and as you can see, the straps are fairly restrictive on the back of this World War II style cap shield. So kit bashes like this do not count. Do not count. Way in the way tippy back, as my kids used to say. So let's get started. 4 minutes and 52 seconds in. God only knows how long this is going to be. But this guy is here for a reason. He is in dead last place. This is the, I believe, 2012 World War II First Avenger Captain America. I don't think it was even called Marvel Legends, but it is a 6-inch Hasbro figure. At the time, they were still kind of figuring out what was and wasn't Marvel Legends. And for the purposes of this ranking, I'm counting him as Marvel Legends. Most reviewers reviewed this as a Marvel Legends figure back in the day and still consider it to be part of Hasbro's Captain America Marvel Legends history. So he is last in line, and I will tell you why. But first, I have to be upfront with you about a couple of kit-bashed elements here. This Tommy gun is from Valorverse Action Force. It is not the Tommy gun that he came with, although it's not that different. And I actually think both of them were designed either by Bobby Valla or Mark II Designs, because the Hasbro Marvel Legends Tommy gun and this Tommy gun are almost identical. I mean, obviously, they're both going from the same historical reference, but they're very, very similar. I just, I wanted to zhuzh this guy up a little, so I gave him a Valorverse Tommy gun because it's era appropriate, and I don't think that anybody's still using a Tommy gun today, so I wouldn't give it to, say, Hammerhead. If Hammerhead was still running around with a Tommy gun for some anachronistic reason, maybe I would. But so that is a kit bash. His Tommy gun. He did come with a Tommy gun. I think it was all black. It could have been brown and black as well, because for some reason I have many more of these than I thought I had. The Tommy guns. I don't know where they all came from. I think one of them came from the World War II Captain America. But the other kit bash element is the head here, which is actually from the. It's either the time-traveling Captain America or the Avengers Endgame Captain America body that had like the time travel suit, or it could be the head from the re-release that they did around the time Endgame came out. That sort of with the ball jointed hips, that really bad one that shouldn't have even been released as far along in in the history of the line as it was. They re-released that 2012. Version of him, I believe it was 2012. Just not a good figure. Might have been 2014 now that I think about it. But that first modern, like it was from the first Avengers movie, but it was a very not modern figure with the ball jointed hips. Pretty terrible. And I think that also was, I don't think that was called Marvel Legends. I think it was just Avengers, Captain America, the movie Avengers figure. Anyway, that head is either from the time travel Endgame figure or the first Avengers movie one. I'm not sure. But it's very similar. This has a better likeness to Chris Evans than the original head that it had on it. And I only replaced the head. I replaced the gun because I like this Tommy gun better than the Marvel Tommy gun. It looks a little classier, a little more realistic. But I replaced the head, and again, I mentioned, where we have kit bashes on this list, it'll be because it's for restorative purposes. The head from this original figure, it did have its original head when I bought it, but it had a huge paint scrape on his nose, so his nose was blue or black or something, and it was just very annoying. So there's that. So those are the kit bashes. The gun and the head are swap outs. The reasons why he's in last place, I don't know if you can see the warping on the shield. Well, yeah, I think you can there. The warping on the shield, they gave him a really shitty, like, vinyl shield. I don't like that. I like the uniform, and I actually like the look of the figure a lot. It looks like the World War II Cap from the movie, but he's also super short. I think this is the shortest 6-inch Captain America in my collection. And so... for that reason, for all those reasons, really, it's not like the gap there in the shoulder and everything. It's not a great sculpt. It's a great design, but it wasn't very well executed. The hips are a little wonky. The paint on it is somewhat nice, like the vivid reds and the star on his shoulder and everything. It's not the worst figure in the world. I mean, that's why it's in my collection. There are really bad Captain America figures that I don't even have. Like that ball-jointed re-released one that they used for Avengers Endgame. That was just inexcusable. I don't have it, and I don't want it. So, yeah, believe it or not, folks, you heard it here first. At the 10-minute mark, I announced there are Captain America Marvel Legends that I don't want. This isn't one of them, though. I do want this one, just sort of for historical purposes, because I do like, the Marvel Legends line, despite all of Hasbro's many flaws. I love Captain America, and I did want a representation of this look in my collection. However, somebody has to be in last place, and this guy is it. I'm hoping I got room enough here for everybody. Okay, so now I knew he was going to be last. I knew he was going to be dead last. The next question is, who's coming up after him? And I sort of loosely arranged them according to my gut instinct here. I'm not going to show you because then it'll give some stuff away. But I do think, okay, yeah, all right. I can make a decision. I am in charge of my own executive function. So this is the Walmart exclusive John Walker Captain America from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think you'll find the MCU figures are probably all going to come up wanting here, just because I'm not a fan of the smaller scale. I am a huge fan of some of the movies, but I am not obsessed with them. I will always favor the comic figures over the MCU figures. So I think that's where we're going with that direction, or that perspective. So this is the John Walker Walmart exclusive Captain America, as it was seen on the TV show The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when the government hired, I guess, John Walker, or tapped John Walker to replace Steve Rogers after he retired. I don't even remember in the movies if he was thought dead or if the world knew that he was still around, but now was 100 years old or whatever. It looked 100 years old. I'd love a comic version of this. I really would, because the comic John Walker isn't a whole lot better, as we'll see. But it's got, I really dislike the movie shield. I mean, you've seen me now paint over two of them just to make them silver, like prototype type shields. This shield is a little different from most of the movie shields. It's got some extra stuff going on inside the star, and it's got those little tiny, can you see those rectangles that are like going around it in various places in the center of the silver part there? I don't know what those are supposed to represent. I don't hate the design per se. I do think that the articulation certainly is not great on this figure. He has one of the cardinal sins of military style action figures. He has a painted on, molded on gun that doesn't even seem to have a strap of any kind. It's just sort of glued to his leg and looks that way. And that may be show accurate. I don't know, and I don't really care. I just keep them like this, so you can't even see the stupid molded on gun that doesn't really come off. He's got some nice paint on him and stuff, but obviously needs some Keyes loose joint fix. How is it that just me showing them to you makes their feet loose? I'd love to know how that is. Anyway, as you can see, he's not a terrible looking figure, but it's not a character. It's not a version of the character that I'm excited about. It's not a TV show that I particularly enjoyed. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a C+ at best, and maybe even an F. I just really, it's not anything I really ever want to revisit or go back to, and not for the performances. I think all the actors in it were fine. Just the story was lacking, and I think there was some behind the scenes last minute storyline changes involving the virus that was being used in the story. I think probably because of COVID at the time, and that was a hot button issue. So yeah, next to last is my MCU John Walker Captain America. Now, the choices get interesting at a certain point, don't they? Don't they? All right, I'm looking. I got it down to 2. Yeah, and I'm going to have to say, comic figures are going to win out over movie figures again. Now, this is not the worthy Captain America, so I'll have to explain a little bit of kit bashing here. The only thing that I added to this guy is Mjolnir. Because this is the 2-pack. There was a Captain America 2-pack that had the Sam Wilson Captain America and the Steve Rogers Captain America, and the original Endgame worthy Captain America, Power and Glory Captain America, as Walmart called it because it was a Walmart exclusive. That one had a much darker color scheme and battle damage, and the shield had battle damage painted on it and that sort of thing. This is more of a cleaner version of that Power and Glory / worthy Captain America that came with Mjolnir, which I did have in my collection at one point, and I do kind of wish that I still had it. And there's not many MCU figures I can say that about. But when I got this one, when I picked up that 2-pack at a GameStop in Plattsburgh, New York, I couldn't put a Mjolnir in his hand fast enough because it kind of made up for my stupidly selling off my my worthy cap, my Power and Glory cap. So this is basically that's the only kit bashes that I added Mjolnir to his hand there. I mean, he even came with the Mjolnir holding hand that had been on the Power and Glory Captain America that this is a repaint of. I don't know why they couldn't have thrown the hammer in the box there. Well, I do know why, because it's Hasbro, right? And they're super cheap. But this one, you know, of all of the MCU figures that I have, well, I guess there's one that I like a little more than this, and we'll get to him shortly. But he's gonna be back here hanging out with these guys in the back of the room. Back of the room. Nobody's arguing with me. They all seem to agree that that is his correct place. All right. Now, this one might be a little controversial, and there is a slight kit bash on him. But next, I'm going to give you the 2012, I forget if it was the Epic Heroes or the Return of Marvel Legends line. Might have been the Arnim Zola Build-A-Figure wave. Not 100% sure on that. But this is the Commander Rogers figure from 2012. The only kit bashes that I don't have, I don't think this is the original plasma shield that he came with. I think this guy came with the plasma shield. I'm not even 100% sure about that, but because I bought so many of those Commander Rogers figures just for the shoulder straps, that I have a lot of those plasma shields in my collection, probably like going on 10 of them, I think. And he did originally, and I'm not sure, again, this is the dark blue. There was a variant that was black of the Commander Rogers figure, this 2012 Commander Rogers figure. This is the blue one. If he didn't come with the plasma shield, let me know, because I'd be happy to swap him out with one of the other more traditional comic shields, because I believe those two different variants of each other versions, I think one came with the plasma shield and one came with the regular shield. This guy's janky as hell with the hips. He's got the ball-jointed hips, and his legs, they're kind of splayed out there, and that they just sort of do that naturally after a while. But I love this design. I love this head sculpt. I really do. I'm not trying to be, controversial or contrarian. I just think it's a good head sculpt. It's got some nice wash in the hair, some paint wash to give it some. Just to make it look more appealing, I guess, is the word. I'm not sure. Words are escaping me. But he does come with his original, they're sort of modified, because they're, very bright, well, not very bright, but a light silver. It makes them look futuristic, but really I think it's just a 1911 Desert Eagle with like an underslung, like a laser, laser dot sight, or even just a flashlight. I'm not 100% sure. Let's turn your legs in a little bit here so you can stand up, Commander. Can you do that for me? There we go. That's better. So he's going to be next in line in my my worst to best. I really appreciate this figure. I have two of them. I've talked about them extensively. I like the design. I don't love the body type. But if it had modern style Hasbro hips instead of the ball jointed hips that it has, I'd probably forgive everything else about it that I don't like, because I actually like this better than the more recent Hasbro Commander Rogers figure, which we will be getting to, paradoxically, because this guy does also get points off just for those janky ball jointed hips. I don't know. I'm my logic is failing me, but oh, what the hell? Let's make it a tie. That's the only way I can save myself at this point with this particular point of contention. So here we have him. Here we have him in all his glory. It was 2022, 2023, somewhere in there. The updated Commander Rogers with the stock head. I don't like the head. I know it's a Paul Harding sculpt. I just don't like it. I usually love Paul Harding sculpts. He did that wonderful unmasked Steve Rogers head that came with the 20 Years Captain America. And this doesn't even look like it's the same guy. I mean, yes, they both have that Captain America chin there, but this just it doesn't look like the same guy. When I'm being charitable, I feel like this face sculpt is based on the works of Carlos Pacheco from that Commander Rogers miniseries. When I am not feeling charitable, I just feel like it's Jesse Plemons getting himself a little heavy for a role, kind of putting on 30 pounds. You know, it just doesn't... it doesn't say Steve Rogers to me. I have used it as a Johnny Storm head. I can kind of see that. But just generally, I don't have a lot of use for this head. I just really don't. And it does have better hips. Didn't come with any trigger finger hands or anything, just fists, which I think was a disappointment. I think it would have been better. I mean, this is a military depiction of Steve Rogers. They could have given him trigger fingers, but they didn't. He does not have his shoulder harness because I gave it to someone else, but also this is more in-universe accurate, not having him with the shoulder harness because the shoulder harness is supposed to be on the back of the shield. And so you wouldn't see the shoulder harness logically if he actually has the shield in his hand, is my point. If he's wielding the shield. And also, with the plasma shield, I think the idea was that it was actually a device on the back of his forearm, and he would tap it, and then the shield would come to life. So he really doesn't need a shoulder harness. And I know we all like how it looks. Don't get me wrong, and I like how it looks too, and you're going to see me contradict myself about the shoulder harness. But so yeah, I'm basically going to say that the faults of these two figures, the two Commander Rogers figures, basically make them tied, in my opinion. I like things about both of them, and I dislike things about both of them. This guy has the trigger fingers. He came with the weapons, as the Commander Rogers figure should have come with, but he came with those ball-jointed hips, which at the time was understandable because it was early in the Hasbro days of Marvel Legends. Hasbro didn't really start knocking it out of the park or even trying to until 2014. If you go over to the Carbon Scoring channel, he's doing a complete history of Marvel Legends. And yesterday he uploaded the year 2014. He showed you every Marvel Legends from the year 2014. And my opinion is that in the year 2014, that is when Hasbro really entered its modern age of action figures, where they really, the Bucky Cap body debuted in 2012, but they were still doing stuff like this up until 2014, 2013. Once 2014 hits, that's when Hasbro really starts cooking with gas and getting better. And as I've said, I'm not saying they've gotten better to the present day. I personally believe that Hasbro Marvel Legends peaked in 2019 as far as the sheer number of excellent figures that were well done and weren't a cheat on the consumer. And it's been downhill since 2019, or at least a very rocky ride. But for my money, this 2022 or 2023 Commander Rogers on the left here, and the 2012 earlier version of him with a better head sculpt and really a better silhouette, a better shelf presence. I think this figure, minus those hips, I think looks better on the shelf than this one. Partially because of the head sculpt, but partially because of the just the overall design of the body. So yeah, they're tied. They are tied. So now it gets really, really interesting. All right. This one is a little bit of a cheat. Again, it's my channel. Sorry if it bothers anybody. But The way it's a cheat, but it's allowable in my mind, is that this is also the cap. So this is a U.S. agent. This is supposed to be John Walker. This came out, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. It's an update of the original Bucky Cap body version of the U.S. agent, which I think that was. I think that was the second figure they did on the Bucky Cap body, maybe third. I'm not sure. But this is also the costume that was used by Steve Rogers when the government basically told him that he had to get in line and do what they said, and he said he wasn't going to do that. He was going to, follow the dream of America rather than the whims of any particular government. So he lost the title of Captain America, or they took it away from him, or he resigned. I forget. It was a long time ago. It was a Mark Grunwald storyline, I think. It's somewhere in the 300s, I think, 350, somewhere around there. I could be wrong. Again, I'm just riffing, folks, just riffing. But the reason why, and I do keep this in my West Coast Avengers display, so that, in my mind, this really is John Walker. But in a pinch, if I needed to do a display featuring the Captain, as this is the exact uniform that Captain America that Steve Rogers wore when he became the Captain in defiance of the government's telling him that he couldn't be Captain America anymore. So in a sense, this is a Captain America costume, even if this version of him isn't Captain America. I did add the saw rifle here, the squad automatic weapon. Threw that in just to make him look a little more military. But that is the shield that he came with. I do love the shield because it has French blue, which is my favorite shade of blue. Take a drink every time I mention that. The only thing that really says John Walker instead of the Captain about this guy is the head sculpt. It's very, very similar to the sort of grumpy old man head sculpt on the Red Onslaught Build-A-Figure Wave, Wolf Captain America. But that was supposed to be Steve Rogers, so, this could be Steve Rogers. I mean, it's really up to you. It's your collection. The action figure police aren't going to come and get you. But while I do keep him as John Walker, Captain America, in my West Coast Avengers display, I would not hold it against anybody who used him as the Captain in their collection or in their display. That makes perfect sense to me. Next in line, I think, is our final MCU Captain America. This is the MCU What If Zombie Captain America. Yep, I like him better than all these other guys. Even though it's an MCU figure, even though it's very much a variant figure of Captain America, I just think they knocked this out of the park. They could have done a little more battle damage on the shield. I'm not going to argue with anybody who says that. They just painted some purple, quote-unquote, blood on there. And that is a little bit of a letdown. But the fact that, look at the thighs. You can see through the goddamn thighs. You see that? My God. You can see his rib cage in there. This is all sculpted stuff, man. They must have spent a fortune on this guy. If there's any reuse, it might be this boot. That might have been used on another MCU Captain America, but I think that's it. Maybe the foot. Maybe there was a bare foot on somebody else, or a bare sort of grasping claw hand. Just look at this guy. Look at him. My God. The fact that he even exists, never mind that you can see through his thighs. Yeah, baby. Yeah, he's firmly in the middle. He's firmly in the middle. Next up is this guy, and this is the 2014. Right? Yeah, I just watched that video yesterday, carbon scoring. So I gotta think back. 2014. This is the Marvel Now Captain America. It's based on the Marvel Now era of Marvel Comics, where they kind of rebooted their line a little bit and gave everybody new costumes. I had forgotten. Carbon Scoring mentioned this in his video yesterday, that Marvel Now was kind of a response to the success of DC's New 52 initiative. Where they once again rebooted the universe for DC. So, Marvel wanted to be like, hey, we got something going on. Take a look at Marvel Now, Not in love with this guy. in the same way that I am with the Marvel Zombies, but this is a recent acquisition, so maybe recency bias is making me put him ahead of the line. Really, really like the sculpted and painted shield, which we don't get anymore. Overall, I like the design. I think his head is too small, and I have tried other heads on him, and he looks better with other Captain America or Steve Rogers heads. He's got this little pea head. If that head was just 10% bigger, I think this figure would be one for the ages. The paint is a little sloppy on it in places. It's not their best moment in terms of quality control, but that's always an issue with Hasbro. Again, this is one that I had long ago and then got rid of. His height is the biggest issue for me. He is very short compared to, Commander Rogers or U.S. Agent. But if you put him in a Marvel Now display with an Iron Man up on a flight stand and a big giant Thor, the Oliver Copiel Thor, he looks okay. It's kind of a melding of modern sort of post 9/11. Let's draw every piece of scale mail on his chest. It's a melding of that with the movie look with the chin strap and all of that. It's kind of a hybrid look, but it definitely is meant to be the Marvel Now comic book Captain America. And so I would put him right there in the line. All right. We're getting down to only the ones that I really like, folks. And this is the last one that, I like having this. I'm glad I have it. I'm just not in love with it. The shield is is a big part of the appeal. His height and the smallness of his head definitely are deficits. Here we have on the Grim Reaper body mold. This is the Secret War concept Captain America that was created for a comic book called Secret War. Not either of the two Secret Wars events, which were line-wide events, but Secret War was a 5-issue miniseries about Nick Fury sending some superheroes on a secret mission. And this costume was designed for that comic. It appears in the back pages where they're telling you about how the comic was made, but I don't think he ever wears exactly this costume in that comic book. I think that he came with that shield throwing effect that also came with the 80 Years Captain America. Basically, I don't care about that effect at all, because if you use it in a display, the gravity is going to weaken the joints of the arm that is utilizing it. So I don't really, I don't care about that. I don't worry about it. It's not a thing as far as I'm concerned. It's just a gimmick, at least he doesn't have a big button in his back like some of the early Toy Biz figures. But I do like this design. It's sharp, it's eye-catching, it's different, it's a conversation starter. I don't hate it. And I think that I like it a little bit more than I do the 2014 Marvel Now. So I'm going to put him right there. And I think decisions are hard to make. All right. Next, we're going to talk about Ultimate Captain America. This has one kit bashed element, which is the vest that I put on him, which was originally the jacket piece from Jimmy Woo, I believe, if I recall correctly. I don't think it's a Valaverse vest. I think it's the Jimmy Woo vest. I just think that Hasbro did a Captain America that came in a 3-pack with Ms. Marvel and Radioactive Man. I think it was around 2011 or 2012. That was 2020. It was 2012 because, again, Carbon Scoring yesterday. This is a big help. Thank you, Carbon Scoring. Or no, it was 2014. That's what I'm saying. It was 2014. Okay, so in 2012 or 2013, Marvel Legends did release a Ultimate Captain America with like some gray on the pants and maybe the underarms, whatever that whole area, like the more recent one. But like this one that we're looking at right now. But he had a vest in that 3-pack, and he looked really cool, and I like that. So this is basically the vest that I threw on this guy is my homage to that ball jointed hip janky Captain America from that 3-pack that I don't have, but I do think that having the vest on does complement a Captain America figure, especially if he's supposed to be a more militaristic one like this Ultimate version. This is from the Ultimates. This is Ultimate Captain America. I don't like the boxiness of his head, and it's similar to the Secret Empire Captain America, which I do not have. I want to get it, but I do not have it. The expression is very similar. It looks like that was a remold or a resculpt of this head because it has a little bit more narrower head and more prominent cheekbones. But the head on this guy is really what holds it back from ever really being. And it's also not a classic Steve Rogers Captain America. You know, it's the Ultimate Captain America with the sort of different boots, different gloves, stars on his shoulders, etc., etc. And the Ultimates, I mean, I loved it when it was coming out, but, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whenever it was, 24, I think, 24 years ago. I loved that comic when it was coming out, but I'm over it. I'm over the whole, sort of wise-ass satire of Mark Millar's writing. So yeah, they're the Ultimate Captain America. That's his place in the ranking, and maybe I'll count these at the end to let you know what everybody's number is. I am kind of going in rows here to kind of keep track. Is there anybody I like more than this guy, or like less than this guy? And I guess it's this guy. And is the Secret Wars Captain America from 2024 or 20? It was either late 2024 or early 2025. It's basically kind of a re-release / repaint of the 80 years Captain America, using that overlay for the scale mail. It really isn't a patch on the 80 years Captain America. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I have him. I have used him for kit bashes, for a comic-worthy Captain America with Mjolnir, and for a comic World War II Captain America with the original triangular shield. I bought 5 of these guys when they were easily available for kit bashing purposes. But he is not my favorite. He's just, it's a good Captain America basically on that. And that was the first pinless Captain America. As if you watch my evolution of Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America, of the modern Captain Americas from Hasbro, you'll see that he was the first pinless one. On the Grim Reaper body mold. So basically they remolded the arms and legs from the Grim Reaper mold to make a pinless Captain America, and we will see that once more in this ranking. But that's for Secret Wars Captain America. With his broken shield, he didn't even come with a complete shield, which is another deficit. If you're going to do a specialty shield, like the shield with the holes in it for the bullet effects and for the energy effects and the slashing effect like the 20 years Captain America had Hasbro, give us also a good regular shield. Because for some people, when they buy a Captain America, that's the only one they're ever going to buy. It's the only one they're ever going to own. And it's a really shitty thing to do to just give them that. Okay. End of rant. Okay. Now I think we are officially into the guys that I love pretty unreservedly, and this one's going to be visually disruptive, but it is the Sam Wilson Captain America, the reissue. Originally this figure came in a 3-pack. It was a Toys R Us exclusive with the Vision and the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, but it didn't come with the wings. And there was a company called Shapeways that actually 3D printed wings so you could put some Falcon wings on your Captain America. And it was great that they did that. And that, I think, was kind of the secret origin of third-party providers, manufacturers, fixing Hasbro's mistakes. And that was a big mistake. If they'd had put the wings in that 3-pack, they wouldn't have ended up going on clearance at Toys R Us as they did, I don't think. But Sam Wilson, Captain America here, up on a flight stand with his wings spread high or spread far or spread out, whatever you want to say. Yeah, that's a really, really good figure. They did a really nice job on it. And the body, you may be interested to know, is actually the Marvel Now Captain America, the short little pea-headed guy, but they gave him a correct size head and they repainted it with the Sam Wilson sort of Falcon design. I'm not sure if the torso is a fresh mold, or if they did just use the same mold completely. I'm not going to bother doing a comparison right now for that, but yeah, Sam Wilson, Falcon Captain America, Falcon Cap, whatever you want to call him. He goes right there. Next favorite is one with a big kit bash that okay, that was only 3 of them. You'll notice this one right away. This is the Ultimate Riders Captain America. They came with a motorcycle. This is not the motorcycle he came with. This is the G.I. Joe Classified Series Ram cycle that came with Breaker. But it's a damn good Captain America. This was designed, I believe, and sculpted by Bobby Valla from Valaverse, who later, after leaving Hasbro, started the Action Force line, which is a really good line of military-style action figures. You can see he has the triangular-shaped shield there on his back. This is basically the Brian Hitch Ultimate Captain America from the Ultimates in those scenes, those brief scenes from World War II. But he works as a comic book World War II Captain America just generally. And he definitely, not even counting the motorcycle, he is one of my favorites. Quickly pick up everybody that fell over. Oh, goodness gracious me. How things fall over. And then I'm going to have to put everything back where they belong. And then that's going to be a whole thing too, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So, next up. Whoa. His shield went flying. When Captain America throws his mighty shield, I'm telling you. All right. So this is the update to Bucky Cap. This is not the Bucky Cap mold one. This is the Vulcan body mold. Bucky Barnes Captain America, representing Captain America Volume 5, written by Ed Brubaker, drawn by Steve Epting and a bunch of other artists. Really, really nice update. I love the metallic paint all over him. He looks absolutely spectacular. The only restoration I did on this is some of the paint got scraped off the A on his head, so I did go over that with a silver metallic Sharpie, and also I gave him the shield version of this pistol. This is the mold of the pistol that he originally came with, and it fits in that holster. But I just gave him the silver one to sort of play off of the silver on the forehead, and I can never tell if that's actually silver on his chest or just a pearlescent white. But in any case, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get his shield back on him. Okay, all right. So, yep, that's where Bucky Cap goes in the ranking here. Whew, this is a tough one. But I think Wolf Cap is next from 2016, 10th anniversary year of this guy. We could have gotten a reissue, Hasbro, but you didn't give it to us. But anyway, yep. I love Wolf Cap. I also have one with the regular head. I got that about a week or two back. So I have both versions in my displays. The one with the regular Captain America head and the one with the werewolf head, and that was another Mark Grunwald innovation. This is the first, if you watch my Evolution of Modern Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America's videos, Part 1 and Part 2, this was the first Captain America. This was the first good modern Captain America from Hasbro, period, end of sentence. He does not have ball-jointed hips. He has the more modern hips style. He has the Grim Reaper body mold. He was one of the first figures after Grim Reaper to be on the Grim Reaper body mold. He holds up really well if you just want a comic accurate Captain America at a fairly reasonable price. I think I got this guy recently for $32. And again, he does come with the regular Captain America head. I'm not going to reach over there and knock everything over. But he does have swappable heads. He doesn't have to be a werewolf in your collection. And he is definitely, for me, it looks like he is number 4 as we go. Number 4 in my rankings of Captain Americas here. Now I'm down to enough of them that I can actually count them. So number 3, we're down to the top 3, and I think And this may be controversial. I know this is a lot of people's favorite. This is the Gamerverse Marvel vs. Capcom Captain America, but I think he's number 3 for me. I think there are two that I like better. Um, if you watch my evolution of modern Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America videos, please do watch that. I did a lot of work on that and a lot of rambling. But this guy is basically the most recent version of the evolution of the Grim Reaper body mold Captain America that started with Wolf Cap here. So maybe it's kind of fitting that they're together next to each other in the rankings, number 3 and number 4. Um, it's the same exact head that we got with the 20 years Captain America, just with the wider eye holes. They're not, there's less blue painted inside there to give him, I guess, I don't know. It's more presence. It draws the eye better. I think he's not. It doesn't appear to be squinting like the 20 years one does. Um, but he has the small version of the shield, which I don't love. But it's smaller so that it will accommodate the Marvel vs. Capcom effect piece that goes over it for his, special move from the video game. But the improvements that they made here, as you'll see in my evolution video, are they gave him butterfly joints, which the Grim Reaper body mold Captain America should have had it back here, but they probably wouldn't have looked that great back then. But they figured it out a little bit. They gave him the butterfly joints. They gave him a larger shoulder piece, the deltoid there. So he has a wider silhouette, a more heroic silhouette. They have that star stretched out, whereas it's usually just a star shape. But they stretch it out a little just to show you how the uniform is straining against his muscles. And then he also has a new pair of boots. Most of the not Bucky Cap. Most of the Grim Reaper body mold Captain Americas have the swashbuckler boots with a pointed edge pointing down there in the middle of each of them. These are more rounded. These are a little bit simpler. I'm not going to say it's necessarily video game accurate. You be the judge. I'm no expert on the video game, but yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this Marvel vs. Capcom Captain America. I think it's a nice representation of a certain style, like the Mike Zeck era. It's lacking the scale mail, but that definitely is a look from the comics too. The scales weren't always completely drawn on like they are now. And they sometimes weren't shown at all. Sometimes he was just wearing, a blue spandex tunic. And I just think that really, this figure really is a nice representation of all of that. It articulates well. It's a really good figure. It comes with that alternate yelling head, which I don't really care too much about. I have 2 of these guys in my collection, and I don't use that head for either one of them. But if you want it for action figure photography, you have it if you get the Marvel vs. Capcom Captain America. And I think it's still available at retail prices, at least at some online retailers. If you haven't gotten this guy yet and you think it looks good, grab it now because, 5-10 years from now, unless there's some incredible innovation in action figure design and manufacturing, or unless there is a complete and utter collapse of global industrial civilization, and things could go either way there, folks. I do think this Captain America is going to be highly sought after in the future. It's a little more expensive because it comes with that Gamerverse Venom. But the good thing about that is if you buy the 2-pack and you don't want the blue Venom, just sell him because there are people that want the blue Venom but don't want Captain America. That was a great 2-pack in that you really weren't being held hostage because you could that's what I did when I got my second one. The dealer that I bought it from, I just asked him if he would just sell me the Captain America, and he looked it up, and he said that they both were going for the same amount, the Blue Venom and the Captain America. So he just let me buy Captain America for half the price that he was selling the 2-pack for, which I think it might have been $50, it might have been $60, but it was worth it to get a second one in my collection because I like to have a backup. I like to make sure if something does go awry. I mean, this Wolf Captain America here, his right hand has already sheared off, and I had to super glue it back on, and it looks okay. But I always know when I see it that's the one with the broken hand that I had to super glue back on, and the figure's now 10 years old. So, I'm glad that I now do have a backup of that figure. The Wolf Cap in my collection, and I'm glad I have a backup of the Marvel vs. Capcom Captain America. This just came out last year. It's a beautiful, beautiful Captain America, perfect shade of blue, perfect choice of primary head sculpt, reusing that Paul Harding 20 years Captain America. The only thing I can fault is the shield being a little too small and maybe a little too pink instead of red. But you know, I got a lot of Captain Americas. I can give him a better shield. I can give him a different shield and a better shield if I have to. Now we're down to number 2, and we'll move him over here because we're starting to run out of space, as I knew we would. And perhaps appropriate that he is under the dramatic lighting. This Alex Ross designed from 2019. It's the Marvel 80 Years Captain America. And the only addition that I made to him is I have given him the shoulder straps, I think from one of the Commander Rogers figures that I bought at Ollie's when they were $10 each. I literally just bought those figures for the shoulder harnesses. Because to me it's worth it to be able to have it look like that shield is slung over his shoulders, strapped on his back. I like how that looks. And this thing is a goddamn work of art. This was the first one to introduce the scale mail overlay that we also saw on the Secret Wars one back there in the center of the screen, and also in the 20 Years Captain America. But the metallic paint that they used is just stunning. As you can see, it's not perfect. You see a little separation there at the bicep, where, you know, the blue underneath that white line there is supposed to be the continuation of the shoulders that were sculpted. And then they painted it so that they molded the bicep part in white and then painted the blue, but it is definitely not perfect. But from a distance, you don't really notice, you don't really care. This is the secondary head sculpt that came with that figure. The other one is more the Alex Ross design. People think that they're the same head sculpt with just a different expression on his face. That is not true. The A is completely different on this one versus the Alex Ross head sculpt. The Alex Ross head sculpt is the one that I have on my version of this figure that is in my Bronze and Silver Age collection next to the Alex Ross designed Iron Man. So I do have 2 of these guys, so I have a backup should something go horribly awry. But yeah, for me, this is the number 2 Hasbro Marvel Legends 6-inch Captain America in my collection. This is the Alex Ross 80 Years of Marvel 2019 Captain America. Just an astonishingly beautiful figure. Whether you're looking specifically for the Alex Ross design that was utilized in the comic book Marvels with writer Kurt Busiek, or you just love a classic Captain America. Yeah, he's a little darker. He's good for a World War II Captain America. Because World War II Captain America did also have the round shield. As you can see, he's got a round shield. His shield is small, and that was a subject of discussion when this came out in 2019. I think it's the same mold as this one. But at least the colors match the figure. You know, this blue on the shield doesn't even match the blue on the uniform, although it may look it on screen. To the naked eye, it doesn't match. The blue on the shield is a little darker. But there's not a lot wrong with the 80 Years Captain America. He is pretty spectacular, and he is my number 2 ranked Captain America in my collection. So, we've come a long way. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, 17. I was right, so there were 18 total. Math is not my strong suit, as you may have realized at some point in this adventure, this journey that we're on together. Do you know what number 1 is? Do you know? Did it seem inevitable? Number 1 in my collection of 6-inch Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America figures. Number 1 with a bullet. From the year 2022, it is the 20 years of Toy Biz Marvel Legends anniversary release, the 20 Years Captain America. This guy is just heartbreakingly beautiful. Now, as I said, he has the exact same head sculpt as the Gamerverse Marvel vs. Capcom one, but you can see that there is a little more skin underneath the eye holes there in the mask. This one is a little squintier, just because they added more blue around the eyes on the inside. I don't know if that's like sort of like the Michael Keaton, having Michael Keaton Batman having a little black mascara around his eyes to make it his, the mask sort of blend in with his face, or it was some decision that somebody made design wise. I do kind of prefer this more wider, open eye hole look, in the mask. Uh, but they are the same head sculpt, believe it or not. And this one also came with the alternate unmasked head sculpt and the little ring piece to go around the neck to give you the cowl down, unmasked Steve Rogers look. This one came with these shoulder straps, the harness came with it. It was, I think it was the first Hasbro Captain America to come with the full shoulder straps. The Wolf Cap came with just little rings that went around his shoulder balls that will fall down anytime you move the figure. And so they were trying, but they hadn't quite gotten there yet. But this one came with the full shoulder harness. And again, I'm violating my own rule because those straps are supposed to be on the back of the shield, but I don't care. It just looks damn good. The paint on this thing is incredible. It's got some cell style shading. Can you see the sort of watercolor going down the reds there? And it's that shading is also on the boots and the gloves. And this is, to me, this is the absolute apotheosis of Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America's. Again, some people will prefer the Gamerverse one. I know that. And hardcore longtime fans may even prefer the 80 years one. To me, it is a very close tie between the three in the front here. Not a tie, but it's a very close competition, I guess. I do prefer, he's definitely number 3. He's definitely number 2. This guy is number 1 with a bullet. It's the right color. It is an inspiring and incredible accomplishment. Yes, it has pins. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit that it still has pins in the joints. I just think this looks like my mind's eye classic comic book Captain America right here. I mean, Captain America in the comics and in the movies is an inspiration to the public, to Americans, to the world. He is heroic. He is noble. He is good. He sacrifices. He makes sacrifices. And right now he's sacrificing some stability and standing still. There we go. But for me, yeah, drum roll, the big finish. These 3 are my top 3. And I really do think the 20 years Captain America that came out in the 4-figure, unfortunately one and only 20 years line released back in 2022, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the 2002 launching of Marvel Legends when Toy Biz had the license. I think that this guy front and center, he leads the way. He is the best Hasbro Marvel Legends 6-inch Captain America, in my opinion. And I will just sort of give you one last look over the crowd here. I'm not going to do the countdown like I thought that I was. We're on nearly an hour here, and I think that's enough. But just to give everybody their due, everybody their little moment in the sun, these are the 18 best, in my opinion, Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain Americas, perhaps not coincidentally. And there are a few, like I was thinking I have the Stealth Captain America, the MCU Stealth Captain America is back there in my shield display. But I think if I didn't think of it, it probably wouldn't have ranked very high anyway. These are definitely the 18 best in my collection of either Captain America, or Steve Rogers, or someone who was Captain America like that John Walker, U.S. agent. I think these are the 18 guys right here, and a couple of these are going to go back in my displays. The John Walker U.S. agent's going to go back in the West Coast Avengers display. Who else? I'm not sure. I think most of the rest of these guys are living on the work table at the moment, but eventually I'll figure something out for all these guys because, God damn it, Captain America's the guy. He's the man, and hopefully this is this is me hopefully somehow starting to work through my recent obsession with Captain America. I'm almost done with that Ed Brubaker run of comics, and that should help bring the curtain down and let us perhaps move on to somebody else and kind of figuring out some other characters to focus on, talk about again, as we used to do before I got, Captain America on the brain. But again, one last time, number 1 with a bullet, all hail. Despite his shield with holes in it, I don't care. He is the best Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America to date. I can make an argument for this guy. I can make an argument for this guy. But for me, the best one is the 20 years Captain America from 2022. And that's it. That'll do it for this ranking of Captain America figures here on Action Figure Obsession on the Avian and Loaded channel. I appreciate you spending an hour of your time with me as I kind of figured this out as we went. There was a couple of change-ups there during the rankings, as you probably noticed. But at the end of it, I think I was fairly consistent, and I think it helped me to kind of codify in my mind what my standards are and why each of them ranked where they did, and which ones are my very favorite of all time Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America. It's not a coincidence that it's 3 that are on the Grim Reaper body mold. I don't know that they're really ever going to beat that body mold. I'd like to see them try. But I guess we'll find out in the future. For now, these are my top 3 guys. These are my top 18 Captain Americas in my collection. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Leave a comment. How would you rank them? Would you rank them differently? Do you have all of these? Do you have any of these? Do you wish you had some of them? Do you wish you didn't have some of them? I mean, there's a couple here that, you know, if my MCU John Walker or my World War II Captain America, if I lost them tomorrow, I mean, I'd feel sad for a few minutes. But, as long as I got these guys towards the front, I'm perfectly happy. Share the video with anybody you know that likes Captain America or action figure ranking or anything like that. And please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and ring the notification bell so that you're informed anytime that I upload a new video here on the Avian and Loaded channel. So thanks for joining me for this extended edition of Action Figure Obsession. I figured it would be a long one. I'm not sorry that it is. I think this was helpful to me to figure things out with these guys, and hopefully it was of some use to you in helping you find maybe a Captain America that you want to hunt down, or to help you just appreciate your own collection. Oftentimes when I watch videos like these, it does give me a new appreciation for, certain figures that maybe I take for granted or have kind of, pushed to the back of a display and haven't thought much about in a while. Sometimes it's nice to do a little refresh and to realize how lucky we are, those of us who are able to participate in this hobby, and to have something as wonderful as a Captain America action figure. Just one. If I just had one, or this one, I would be lucky. I am supremely lucky and gifted to, maybe gifted isn't the right word, but lucky and privileged, I guess, to have been able to collect these guys over the last 12 years or so. This collection has been rebuilding itself after, the big purges in previous eras of my life. But these guys aren't going anywhere. I'm not getting rid of them. When you read my obituary in the paper, then you'll know that they're going somewhere else. But until then, they're staying right here in my toy room. Thank you for watching this ranking of all my Captain Americas here on, or most of my Captain Americas, not all of them, but all the ones that I thought were worth talking about on this edition of Action Figure Obsession. And, if I'm ever going to say it, I got to say it now. Remember, be like Steve Rogers. Do it for the dream, my friends. I'll see you next time.